Hello guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I'm Tom Liao. Today I'm going to talk about why StringBuilder is more efficient than a string. In the official C# programming guide, when talking about string operations, there's a paragraph literally saying that use StringBuilder for fast string creation. Instead, StringBuilder class offers better performance if your program performs many string manipulations, especially running that in a tight loop with many hundreds or thousands of times. Why does that happen? Before I explain what's really going on, let's take a look at a quick demo. In this demo, I'm gonna run a loop to concatenate a string as well as a StringBuilder 50,000 times. Okay, let's go. Wow, the StringBuilder finished 50,000 loops in less than 1 second, and the string concatenation is still running. Okay, now they are both finished. Concatenating a string so many times is pretty slow, isn't it? Let me tell you why. The quick answer is string is immutable, whereas StringBuilder is mutable. Because in C#, string is not a primitive type like numeric types. It's a reference type, and the C# stores reference types in the memory heap. On the contrary, StringBuilder is a mutable string-like class object, whose value is a mutable sequence of characters. Indeed, the value of StringBuilder object is also stored in the heap, but C# handles it in a very different way. Here's an example. Assume we declare a string type variable called _s and assign it with an initial value string 0. Then C# creates this variable in the memory stack and stores string 0 in the heap. And then it creates a pointer for _s to reference string 0 stored in the heap. Next, if we concatenate _s with string 1, then the value of _s changed from 0 to 01. What C# does is to dispose of the previous space allocated to contain string 0, then allocated a new space to contain the new value string 01. The more strings you concatenate to _s, the more memory space will consumed. Therefore, to concatenate a string type string is a very time and resource-consuming task. However, a StringBuilder object acts differently. If we use its append method to append strings to itself several times, C# also creates variable _sb in the memory stack. However, the initial value of _sb will be stored in the reserved heap space as a character. The more characters you append to the StringBuilder variable, it just adds new characters to the heap in the sequence. Hence, StringBuilder can achieve the same task with much faster speed and much less resource consumption. Then does this mean that we should always use StringBuilder instead of string from now on? Well, I've read about some articles, and there are actually people who suggest doing so. But I think strings still have their place. If you just need to hold a string value and use its value without changing it too many times, or won't change it at all, then use string is more straightforward. Otherwise, then you consider using StringBuilder. Okay, there's a more detailed explanation of this in one of my free courses on Udemy called C# Multithreading Basics. I actually use this as an example throughout that course. What stack and heap are is also introduced at the end of the video of section 2 of that course. Since it's a free course, feel free to subscribe to it. Appreciate your time for watching this. See you in the next video.